Oh, there we go. Hello, world! This is the first time we are ever doing this sort of thing. This is Yoda Soda Creations, the podcast, a sort of discussion-based podcast sort of thing, where a couple heads from Yoda Soda Creations, which is myself, Rail Pony, which is the main reason we started this business. Well, partially. I manage the websites and whatnot, the social media sites and whatnot. Our carpenter is present over the call at the moment. Our carpenter is present on the call by the name of Pegaplex, or Nate, as I like. Nate is his real name, actually. Anyway, but yes. During this particular...
Should I introduce myself? Yeah, you already kind of did. You did. Yeah, I call myself Pegaplex. But yeah, I can be Yoda Soda, or yeah, Nate is a pretty good one too. Sorry, keep going.
In any case, he is actually the main driving force behind this operation that we do, which is mostly art-based. We have some wood carvings, interestingly, and just recently he's actually started laser printing, which is a bit of a surprise, to be honest. And one of the reasons why I had to change our name from woodworking to creations, because, well, obviously it expands farther from woodworking. But anyway, on to our discussion cast, and today's topic is The Mean Six, an episode from My Little Pony Friendship's Magic Season 8, which I was skeptical but also interested in, and yet it turns out slightly questionable? I don't know. Anyway, we are going to... Anyway, both of us have three... Anyway, the both of us are going to put three things out. Anyway, both of us have 3 points to make. And some of them will... And, sort of works like this. Sometimes 2 of them will be stuff we liked, sometimes 2 of them will be stuff we didn't like, or at least one thing we liked, one thing we didn't like, one thing that we are about. I don't know, but in any case, I will get things started since apparently, anyway, I will get things started, then I'll hand it off to Nate. And I will start by saying that the back and forth between Chrysalis and the Mean Six is kind of funny at times, but later on it starts to get kind of, well, the humor starts to dry out as things start to go on.
I can see that, yeah. Repetitive. Kind of like, maybe they played all of their cards at the start and they kind of were running out near the end. I can see that, yeah. That's a good point. I would say, I think most of them were pretty good. It's kind of interesting. It was fast-paced due to how many characters there were. That was the problem, I guess. That's a different point, though. The back and forth between, the first... them at the start was probably a little bit better than near the end. I don't know. So, should I say another thing I want, or what I'm, point, I guess?
You have a...
Okay, how about I'll do something, I kind of liked, I'll do something I liked. I liked how the bad guy failed, but she failed just from never even seeing them. So, like, they never came in contact with the enemy, but the enemy still failed to win, or best, her plan failed just on her own. Which, I mean, is that like a diss against her? Maybe it's showing even more weakness. I don't really know. What would you say?
I guess it is a bit interesting that the actual main six didn't even know what the heck was going on.
They never did, yeah, ever. They just they got over it and moved on. It's never been done on this show. Kind of a fun. It's kind of like a Saturday. It felt like a Saturday morning cartoon, like a really Saturday morning cartoon, where the bad guy was just inept enough to not win just by he just failed on his own without even being bested. He created something to best himself, basically. It's interesting. I don't know. I think it would have worked better if it was 2 parts. I don't know. I guess the development was pretty fast because of that. What would you say?
The end is actually sort of teasing on a bit of something like this was supposed to be a 2-parter of some sort, but
kind of just didn't work out or something. Yeah.
Or somehow the resolution is going to come in an episode with a title that's supposed to be a title that ends up being not related, yet somehow might have some sort of connection.
Mm.
And that's one thing. And that's another thing I want to point out. The ending is kind of questionable to the fact that the actions of the elements and the tree in particular, what's that supposed to mean? I mean, is the connection suddenly severed, or was that a defense type of thing? Oh, that's what you're thinking? It was something along the lines of defense?
I think it was just a defense mechanism, and that it kind of just did that on its own without any prompting. It has defenses, I guess. That's what I saw it as. What would you say? I don't know. That's what I saw it as. Were you seeing it as more of a?
I'm actually a lot more on social media than you are, and I've noticed that some people are sort of thinking a connection sever type of deal. But honestly, I'm just a little confused. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I don't see that. Maybe. I mean, because it looked like the colors were still there. You know what I mean? Like there was no visual change, and usually there's a visual change if something happens in the show like this.
I can kind of see what you're talking about. They were black for a moment, and then colors returned.
Like the black, like it's flash black, but it's like no, it rejected it each time. You know what I mean? They flashed black because they.
You guys must have seen that. Guess I must have seen it wasn't them.
Yeah, it was kind of like a passcode or something on a computer, and it's just like nope each time. And they were stored to the same color. It didn't like dim or something like that.
That might be, but I guess I'll have to wait and see.
Again, we can wait. I don't know. Do you think they're going to build on this episode much? I don't know. Would they?
Well, they wouldn't like to see. Well, they would like to see the. Well, they would like to see what this happens to it. What this sort of impacts later. What impacts this thing has later on. Like,
Okay. Because this is only like this is like the mid-season finale, right?
yeah.
So this isn't probably permanent, or I mean, it's not quite as large, I guess. I don't know. It seems like
yeah, it's not as large scale as the box from season 4.
Do you think she'll just? I think she'll probably just like most likely thing that will happen is she'll come back for the season finale, but like maybe that didn't have much an effect on it. You know what I mean? Like she'll have a different plot or like a different way of besting them. Will kind of give up on the tree.
Yeah, at this point it sounds like they're. Yeah, at this point it sounds like. Do you know there's rumors that Tyrek is coming back this season?
Tyrek. Who's said that? Oh, yeah. Who's speaking of that?
His voice actor.
Oh, is his voice actor talking about it? Well, then there's probably a pretty high likelihood that it will happen if they hired him back. So I think I saw that in a comment on EQD.
Yeah. What I'm kind of thinking, because of the outcome, is that it's going to be a team up in that finale, perhaps.
Okay. I could see that. That'd be interesting.
But it's most likely it's going to end up like Discord, where she eventually gets sucked clean of energy and is forced to give up and basically.
Do you think she's a
basically gets through her head? Resistance is futile. You will be friended.
Oh. Okay, so you think it's a Reformation thing type of deal? Most likely.
That's just one thing. I'm not putting my hopes too high.
I could. What would you want to see? What is your preference? What type? Yeah. I think I'd probably want. I'd probably. I don't know. I think Tyrek should be permanently bad. I could see Chrysalis performing. I don't know if I'd want it or not. Like that.
That's what I'm talking about. Chrysalis teams up, but unfortunately, she gets sucked dry at some point, and is supposed to be like, you know what? If I continue this is not going to go anywhere.
This isn't going to work, yeah. I could see that. How would you feel about that if that happened?
That would increase my likability a bit.
Sorry, what?
That would increase my likability a bit.
Oh, you'd like that better. Okay. I think I'd like that. Yeah, I think it'd make Chrysalis again a little bit more interesting. I mean, it would around the fandom. I think a lot of people would hate it. What would if she became good or like at least reformed a bit, or not a threat because people it's the trend of every bad guy is now good basically.
I think that controversy is going to work out similarly to Starlight, where over time she's going to be less hated.
Yeah. Do you think that's overplayed? We got the Starlight, we got the Discord. Those are the big ones. We got like the side plots of sunset.
I don't think it's too overplayed. After all, friendship is in the title of the show.
This is true. It would kind of be weird if they just killed her. It's like, ooh, dead. Yeah, I think, if people just took a step back for a second, you're like, oh yeah, it is. That is kind of the name of the game.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I wouldn't be angry about it, to be honest. I think the fans would probably be pretty angry about it, but...
Well, they would be heated first, but eventually it'll start that. But over time, it'll die down.
Yeah, kind of like Starlight. People are like, oh, another reformed one, and everyone's like, oh. You know, they hated that. And then personally, I really like Starlight. She's either my second or close second, I'd say, favorite bone. So far, my favorite is Twilight, I think, still, but it's like,
great.
Twilight's not been getting good roles, you know. She's kind of been weird this season. Would you agree with that? This was kind of this episode was kind of a...
Oh, she's been back and forth, sort of. There are times where she's like out of it and has to be slapped in the face to get back in the game. And then there are other times where she's like, it works.
It's like she acts pretty normal sometimes. Like I think she's a little bit extreme now. Like the writers write her to be like an extreme version each time. You know what I mean? Like she's like way over planning, or she's like way overbearing. Whereas in the previous seasons, she was just kind of more of the character insert. You know, you would kind of pretend to be that. You know, that she's the one asking the question, sort of. Whereas now she's kind of like the dictator or whatever, you know. So she's kind of just forging a path forward. And this episode kind of had that return. She had returned to form, sort of. You know, she kind of did that basically this whole episode, which was kind of fun. I like to see her written in the way she was kind of meant to be. You know what I mean? That'd probably be... I kind of liked having a all main 6 episode again. That was kind of nice. I think that's my second point.
Yeah, that's one good thing.
What would your second point be?
That was my second point. The ending was just basically questionable, but
oh, okay. And
yeah, hopefully it'll be addressed eventually.
I kept looking at the timestamp, you know what I mean, and going like, well, you know, like, oh, it's almost over, and then it's over. Yeah, and I there was like no confirmation, you know, no. Usually, like the bad guy, even in those, you know, Saturday morning cartoons where the bad guy just foils himself, usually the good guys at least see that he failed. You know, they didn't see anything else, but they saw him fail, and they're like, oh, that's why everything happened. Whereas this was like, yeah, they were just in the dark the whole time. They're still in the dark. And, you know, to them, nothing happened except they cried in the forest a bit. Which is kind of interesting. It's kind of like midway in between two types of episodes. There's like the episode type where... the episode type where the main character goes around, has no clue what's happening. And, you know, they're still successful. And there's the other type where it's like... the main character has has a impact on the main plot, but unknowingly. This was kind of like a mix of both, but in the end they know it. This is like a mix of the both where, like, they don't know what happened, they're kind of clueless, but they're always sort of like, this is weird. Like, they were always kind of like, I thought they were at some point going to say, are you the real Applejack? Are you the real Rainbow Dash? But they never did that. They're just like, yeah, you're good. Like, freaking Applejack's, like...
Yeah, I found it weird that they didn't even notice some of the subtle changes, like The green apples.
Yeah, the green apples. It's like you've known each other for like, even if we're just going off of how the episodes work, it's like at least 6 years. It's like, way more probably in the show's time. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh look, your cutie mark's like, the wrong color. Like something's wrong here. I've always wondered, like, do they see the world in like neon colors like we do, or is it like normal? Because when the bad guys, they've had this where the character is slightly off color, but like they never seem to notice it. You know what I mean? It's like Rainbow Dash is like even a more pastel blue, but it's really obvious to the viewer, obviously, because you're like, oh look, she's the bad one. But like, if you're in this world, would you see? Is it like not that obvious or something? I don't know. Do you just not care about colors as much? Maybe they have oversaturated colors. They don't know. You get what I'm meaning, I guess? Or did I just go off on a tangent that no one will understand?
Vision is pretty questionable.
Okay. So when Starlight gets that poncho, am I the only one that thought that looked like the Endor poncho in Star Wars? Like the Rebels wear? Like the trash bag they have on in Episode 6?
I never caught that.
Okay, I'm gonna look up that picture. It's on Equestria Daily.
I know what you're talking about, but honestly, I didn't notice any subtle references, to be honest.
There are many references in this one, though. I do.
Go back to your points. Yeah, it is interesting. It is interesting that this is a singular main 6 episode. I think we really get those.
Oh, we extremely rarely get them now. It's always either the season finale. I think that's what I liked about it. One of the main things I liked about it was it's just a normal main 6 episode. Whereas, like, so far, like, the last 3 seasons, like, main 6 episodes are only like the ending ones or the beginning episodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no in betweens. It's like it's either the season finale or the season opener.
Yeah.
And it makes it feel weird because you're like, okay, now they're just being forced together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas here you're like seeing them naturally just wanting to go camping, so it makes more sense. You're like, oh, okay.
Right.
It's better. I liked a little bit more bonding between them because like it seems like they've been growing like I don't think this is intentional, but it feels like they grow apart, just not being together as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't see off screen how much they're together, but
Yeah, and I also found it interesting that it wasn't Starlight that was catching on.
Yeah, Starlight was.
A lot of times lately she's been sort of the voice of reason.
Yeah. I think that's one of the big changes that I don't like about Twilight. I think you nailed that right there. Twilight was the voice of reason, and now Starlight's here, and she's always the voice of reason. And Twilight's kind of usually as clueless as everyone else is now, so it's kind of weird because I think I liked the voice of reason bit of Twilight, and now she doesn't do that as much, and Starlight does that more. So I like Starlight because she's a more reasonable one. What would you say? That makes sense, I think.
I'm also a bit weirded on that, but hey, just give us more character modes between the 6.
I think they can go with. I think they could do with some more development. Even you're like, oh, there's been so many seasons developing them. There hasn't been a lot of development with them all together. If you think about it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's been a lot of episodes where 1 or 2 of them bond together, right? or like three of them bond together at most, and then together at the very end of the season, they're like, oh, we gotta all get together, and then they defeat the bad guy all together. It is interesting. I guess it's kind of a high number. It's kind of like Avengers, where there's like 18 characters, and you have like only a 2-hour movie, and you're like, oh shoot, how do we get all of these characters to have some time on the screen? I think that's a problem they have with that. And then you get those characters that just sit there and look at the camera and never say anything, occasionally on accident. Like I forgot what it was called. The one where Rainbow Dash goes to the convention. No, the one where they Twilight sets up like a maze for them. A room escape one. And it felt weird to me because only
that was the second episode of season 7, all balled up.
Yeah, I think that's what. Yes, that's what it was. Man, you're on top.
Where the 6 were on a retreat and Sterling and Trixie were together.
Yep. I've always felt that part was weird with them when they flash back to the main 6, because you get 3 of them saying stuff, and there's the other 3 just standing there looking. They wouldn't say anything.
Right.
This is kind of weird. Yeah. I think that's a problem they have. I don't know. If we're talking about the main 6 dynamics, if we're the next series, or is that happening with the season Gen 5? If they change that up so much, Twilight.
I'm honestly willing to at least give it a watch.
Yeah. Of course. I'll watch it. I'll watch probably 5 or so episodes
and see how the fandom dynamic comes out. One possibility is that if that doesn't do as successfully, is that they'll probably just revert back.
I don't know if that could happen. I mean,
it's a possibility. It's just a possibility at this point.
Yeah.
Since
there's a rumor that it's going to be more aimed at teenagers or something, or older kids. Have you heard that as well? Was that just something I made up? Pretty sure I heard that somewhere. I think it was just on a random video I saw. So not the most credible source. That would be interesting, though.
I guess
it could go either way. I think. Have you seen Gravity Falls?
There are a lot of shows I need to catch on.
Well, okay. Gravity Falls kind of did the teen episode, teen cartoon style pretty well. It was a little edgy, but it wasn't like Family Guy or something really adult. Which would be a good mix. I would like more satire. That'd be fun if it was not super satire, just just more like Starlight acts right now, where she's just super down to earth. It's just, what are we doing here? Just kind of, I don't know, kind of like a teenager would act. It'd be cool if there was more development too. I'm noticing though that in these latter seasons, there's a lot more large changes, which I'm liking a lot, like the whole Spike change and the school change, just in general. They're adding a lot of stuff and changing a lot of large things, which I kind of like, because it keeps it from stagnating too much.
Plus, it also has to sell the toys.
That's true. That as well. I'm surprised it took them this long for Spike, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was questioning if it was ever going to happen. I'm like, they're just not going to do it.
I as well.
And I'm kind of sad because they only got like at least two. What is it? This the rest of this season and another season, right? There's probably a 9 or what is it? Yeah, an 8.
Yeah, there's an 8th confirmed.
Okay, good. They at least have another season to work with that stuff. Spike flying, and it'd be cool to see like more of Big Mac. That how that develops. Want more changes there. Maybe some more changes. Oh, I'd love the Crusaders to like change in some way, even visual or something. Teenagers or something. I love Scootaloo and Rainbow Dash episodes, so that'd be awesome if we got one of those, and maybe did something, hint.
It would be awesome to see her fly before the series ends.
Yeah. I hope they do that soon instead of like, the last 3 episodes or something like that. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, let's just do whatever we want, the last 2 episodes. I mean, if they did it, it'd be better than not doing it, I think. But it would still be kind of sad because you wouldn't see any of what that did. You know what I mean? Or what happened afterwards. I don't know. I'm a huge person to see what happens afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because let's be honest, if we didn't see Spike's wings in the following episode, that would have been a major continuity fault.
Well, you're just like, I'm not a person to have a change happen and then that's the big point. Like, I like changes, right? But just changing something isn't enough. It needs to change, and then I need to see what happens afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I've always loved movies that have, like, they end maybe, like, 15 minutes before, like, the movie's over, and then you get to see, like, a bunch of what happens afterwards. You know what I mean? I don't know. I like books. I think I like audiobooks and stuff like that for that reason, because usually books have a lot more afterwards. You know what I mean? Like Lord of the Rings ends like halfway through the last book, and then the rest of the entire book is just, what happens afterwards after the war, which is really cool. You get to see, what the war did to every place and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to get some large changes and have those changes stick around and see what happens afterwards.
Yeah.
What would be a change you want? What is your big change you would do? Like Scootaloo flying or something like that, or maybe a pairing or something like that, shifting.
I guess in that sense, I would like to see at some point Weird Al Yankovic make a return.
Ooh.
Cheese Pie Ship.
Ooh.
Or maybe Discord and Celestia finally tying the knot.
That would be interesting as well. I mean, they're like showing that they're almost willing to do that with like the Big Mac episodes, you know what I mean? I was so surprised by Big Mac too, because they had like a bunch of characters lined up for Big Mac, and then they're like, nope, there's this random one that he's getting. There's like, Cheerily, and then there's like what is it? Marble, right? Yeah.
Yes, Marble Pie.
And
then Sugar Bell.
Marble and Big Mac would have worked.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Cheerily and Big Mac, yeah, it was okay. It was pretty good. I'd say it's pretty good, but the Marvel and like Big Mac was really good. I mean, this latest episode with Sweetie Bella and I forgot her name. What's Big Mac's girlfriend? I forgot. I'm blanking.
Sugar Bell.
Sugar Bell. I thought it was Belle, but yeah, it wasn't. I did like her development. That episode was basically saying, "Here's her character, right?" And like, you got you guys, you're gonna like her. She's nice. Basically, it was that type of episode. Which she is, obviously. It's not like it's like, yeah, basically everyone in this world is nice except for a couple of the bad guys.
Speaking of which, to move on to my final point, and this is a major dislike. Crystal is still not different at the end of the episode. There is no development for her whatsoever. Or at least that's what I felt.
I would partially agree with that. Yeah, at the end of the episode, I would agree that she didn't change basically at all. She basically just failed, right? Like my first point, like nothing happened, nothing, no talks happened between the main six and her, and, nothing really happened. She just failed on her own. I think the one change I would say I noticed happening is she seemed more unhinged, if you know what I mean. She seemed less composed. I don't know. She seemed more together in the other episodes we saw her in so far. In this one, she's kind of just rambling to herself and stuff like that.
It would make sense. She did basically lose her army a couple of years ago.
It makes sense. I'm not arguing that it doesn't make sense, but it's like that. I think that's the change that they're implying. You know what I mean? But it's not that big of one. It's kind of a shallow one, yeah. And it's a really obvious one too. You're like, of course she'd be a little more nuts. Nothing too interesting though. Yeah, I'd agree.
You have any final point? Wait, I'm sorry. Go.
I was just going to ask, well, is there anything else that you didn't like much about it? I thought overall it was one of the better episodes. Not the best, but definitely up there so far.
I would definitely say. I would say it's not. I'll say it's not the mid-season finale. I would ideally have, but it does have some interesting setups.
Yeah, I think the overarching thing that I didn't like about it was there was basically no payoff. And that goes back to your big point, is there was no change. There was no payoff. There was nothing happened, basically. In hindsight, nothing happened except the only lasting effect that happened was their camp got destroyed. Like, everything else was, like, non-existent. I don't think the Tree of Harmony is harmed in any way, because usually the writers aren't that subtle. You know what I mean? They usually spell it out more to in their episodes. I could be wrong. Watch when the season finale comes out, and for some reason they're like corrupted. That would be interesting. But I doubt it. I heavily doubt that. Because usually it's like, they change color or the tree rots or something like that, something obvious.
Yeah, you make a good point, because back in the season 4 premiere, not only was the tree covered in roots, but it was also dimmer.
Yeah, the visual.
So I guess you haven't. So I guess you might be right. It was just a defense mechanism.
That's just my theory. I could be wrong. Yeah, that's what I like. I think that's what I'm gonna stick with though, because it makes the most sense to me.
Any last points you want to make before we close things out?
I think maybe conclusions. I think overall this was a pretty dang good episode. I liked how it was. I liked how the stakes were high, even though nothing happened. You know, it had big players, like it had all the main characters, and it had Chrysalis in it. I wish it played a little bit more. I wish they took a little bit more risks. They didn't take many risks, and that shows with the no change, nothing changed. Maybe I don't know. Maybe okay. Maybe there was a bit of a change with Starlight. You know, getting bonding a little bit better. I guess that's what I would have liked out of this episode. I guess I feel like the bond with Starlight and the main six isn't quite strong. That strong. You know what I mean? I think it's pretty strong. I think it's pretty strong. But like, I think it would be fun to get like a main six episode where like, yeah, they go somewhere or do something, and instead of Starlight just saving everyone like she's done several times, right? It's like they work together and then they kind of learn together. You know what I mean?
They were all kind of working.
Yeah, and then in the end, they come out respecting each other more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would like to say they were. I would like to say they were sort of working all together in the season 7 finale.
Yeah, they were. But yeah. I think that I want that to be more played forward. You know what I mean? Like not just a background theme, but like more of a this is a big episode about getting a new friend in your friend group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Including them in more stuff.
Yeah.
Because right now she's just kind of. It feels like she's unnecessarily starry-eyed at them. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we gotta go save them. It's like, but you don't know many of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she's hung out with them, but I went to school with some people for 6 years, and the end of the year came around, and we all left, and nothing. We'd never called each other once so far. It's been a year.
Yeah.
Like it feels like Starlight kind of has that relationship with the main six right now, kind of just a distant. I know you guys because I know Twilight type of feel.
Yeah, I feel at the end they all need to have something to at least connect for the years to come.
Yeah, I think I liked the little bit with Applejack and Starlight, trying to teach her how to camp. I wish it wasn't as played for as much a joke. You know what I mean? It was just kind of a joke. I wish it was a little bit more serious, where Applejack was actually really trying to teach Starlight, and Starlight was trying to learn. You know what I mean? But it was kind of more just Applejack lightening her load on Starlight type of deal.
That does raise a question. How the heck? I mean, what shelters was she taking while she wasn't hiding during season 5?
Sorry, what?
That does raise a question, though. What shelters was she in while she was hiding in season 5?
Can you lay down the plot for that? I'm blanking for some reason. What were they doing? Where was Starlight?
Before Starlight, it was before Starlight reformed. She basically rejected the friendship offer in the first 2 episodes, and then kind of subtly see her in the background at times, and then at the end she basically comes out in the open and.
Oh yeah, and attacks Twilight. Yeah. Like where was she staying? I think she was just kind of hoboing it out. You know what I mean? Just hopping about, trying to spy him out. I think it's sort of believable. I think she's a powerful sorceress, or I think she can survive on her own. It seems like she's we got that little snippet of Maud helping Starlight.
That was before they arrived.
Yeah, but I mean, it shows that she's fine on her own. You know what I mean? Like she was out and about on her own for who knows how long, because she was out in the middle of nowhere, and she just stumbles upon Maud, and then she's like, "Oh, look, there's a village over here." I don't know. It's believable. I think it was decent.
Actually, the village was close by. She just needed some sort of cave to contain the Gator marks.
Oh yeah. I think. Okay. One of the biggest things I think that I didn't understand about this episode was I would have expected Chrysalis to start like a new army, and this shows that she hasn't done that. You know what I mean? She's still just on her own.
I guess that kind of confirms it, that there is it. I guess that just kind of confirms it, that she is the last of the non-changed, and her hive is the only hive in existence.
Like I don't get how does this hive grow? Because if it's a normal beehive, then she could just start a new empire. But this makes it seem like she's just kind of a dictator over creatures that can be independent of her anyways. That's what we see with what happened afterwards. So now it's just like Chrysalis is just by herself. She has no way of starting a new army without like maybe it's the land, maybe it's specifically that area that she needs to start a new place. I don't know. Like it doesn't work anywhere else.
I think she's more obsessed with the revenge scheme.
Oh, she's just not worried about it, you think? That's not her. That was weird. Her goals are a lot smaller. She just wanted revenge on Starlight. That's what it was. She stated it as, She didn't want world domination like mean Twilight did in this episode. She just wanted to hurt Starlight, basically. Which is weird because, yeah, again, like mean Twilight pointed out in an episode, she could have just attacked Starlight right there, And she's the only one she wants revenge on, too.
I think the world domination thing is only on a side note, but...
So she still wants that, but, yeah. She'll take Starlight revenge, you're saying, over world domination.
I think she'd be fine with domination as long as it hurts Starlight. That would be the emphasis.
He's trying to do two birds with one stone type of deal.
That's
trying to hurt Starlight and get world domination.
That's
she
about
can do it normally, so I don't think she'll be able to do it with that added importance.
Yeah, that's about it. All right, this has gone a bit longer than I expected, but it was interesting that the both of us were able to get, it was good that both of us managed to get together and talk, and we came up with some interesting discussions, interesting theories, interesting predictions. We have no idea if any of those predictions will come true or theories will actually be confirmed, but I guess at this point we'll have to wait and see. Next time, and it's probably tomorrow. Probably sometime tomorrow. I will text you how the next podcast will go. But tomorrow, or next time we get together, it'll be a Father's Day weekend special. So I'll probably come up with something for that.
Okay, yeah, episode on Father's Day.
Well, not exactly Father's Day, but I'll come up with. Well, not exactly Father's Day, but not exactly Father's Day, given your work schedule, but
yeah,
it'll be around that time. So yeah, this has been Yoda Soda Creations podcast. I'm Rail Pony. He's Pegaplex, and hopefully we will see you next time. Take care.